Friday at 10 p.m. and Saturday at 10 p.m. and will continue until the next meeting. Flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mrs. Daugherty? Here. Ms. Pasqualone? Here. Mrs. Williams? Here. Mr. Longfellow?
He's excused.
Mr. Perry?
I'm here.
Mayor Gastinelli?
Family emergency, excuse me.
Mr. Platt is Mr.
Riso,
Riso?
here.
And Mr. Gosner.
Here.
Okay. I'll start with the council president presentation since the mayor's not here.
Sir.
Okay. We have an employee of the month presentation, and that employee is Gianna Tarasevich. Please come up. Okay, there's more. Gianna has worked in Washington Township for 10 years. She is a valued employee in the Municipal Services Department. Thanks to her diligence, hard work, and dedication, she handles all of her purchasing needs, coordinates many of the sports programs, equipment, and uniform orders, and spends countless hours sorting uniforms, socks, hats, basketball equipment, and the like for volunteer pickup. She coordinates with many of the sports program commissioners, volunteers, and assists them with sponsors and team requests. She is responsible for coordinating our spring and summer program and working with the many instructors we have participating in this program. She coordinates the purchases of discount tickets to many area amusements and locations for the residents of Washington Township. We don't know what we would do without her humor, reliability, and work ethic. Congratulations on a job well done. And I have to add a little bit more. I had not a lot of interface with the people, but I had one in December. I'm the liaison to the senior center, and every time we go there, they would complain about the computer that keeps dying, and they have to go manually to play their game, and the seniors don't play their bingo. They get pretty grumpy. I went in to Gianna and I said, can you do me a favor? Can you order a computer? They have money in their account, but I need it like yesterday. And I got it yesterday, and I got it in time for their Christmas party, so Santa could present it to them at the Christmas party. So she does a great job. Thank you very much. You guys can come up. You're pretty photogenic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep up with your work.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, we have the Washington Township Fire Department, Chief Douglas, that has a presentation to give.
Good evening. For the record, Pat Douglas, Chief, Washington Township Fire Department. First and foremost, I want to thank Mayor and Council for allowing us to come tonight to speak on behalf of our department and our commissioners about an upcoming referendum for next year to construct a new fire station as well as make some capital improvements on existing stations in the community. Just a quick background for those who don't know about our fire department. We are a combination system, which means we have both volunteer and career firefighters. We are the only emergency service in Washington Township that has volunteers. We have about 82 volunteers and 25 career personnel. So with that being said, we save an incredible amount of money for the taxpayers by having volunteers. Our dynamics have changed over the years. We had a significant increase in calls, which required us to change our staffing capabilities. We now have at least one crew in one of the fire stations 24/7, and that's with our career firefighters. In addition to that, we have volunteers that commit time at the fire station almost every evening of the week and even on weekends during the day to ensure that our community is properly protected. We average about 6,800 calls for service, which encompass training events, public education deliveries, our smoke detector campaign, our fire inspections, and our fire calls. We averaged last year 1,463 emergency incidents. As you can see through our social media and our website, we had an increase in structure fires recently. So we've had a lot of fires and a lot of loss of property. With our in-house staffing, with our volunteers and our career staff, years ago our average response time to an incident was about 8 minutes and 30 seconds. With the staffing capabilities we have today, we've decreased that under 6 minutes. In fact, our last quarter of 2019 for structural incidents, we average about 4 minutes and 50 seconds response time, which is well under the national standard and has made a significant difference. What people don't understand in today's environment and the materials that are being used in houses and construction today, fire will double in size every 30 seconds. So having adequate staffing quickly on the street is critical. As our dynamics change, our facilities didn't catch up with our changes. Our facilities were built more than 20 years ago, in one case 50 years ago, and that's the firehouse on Johnson Road. The firehouses were designed for volunteers to respond at home when their pagers went off. There was very little time spent inside the fire stations. And like I said, times have changed. Our men and women who dedicate their time from their families would rather sit at the firehouse. We still do have a percentage of volunteers that do respond from home. And with our career staff now staying at the fire station, we need to upgrade some of our facilities. Some of our facilities don't have adequate bunk rooms, our bedrooms for sleeping facilities, as well as bathrooms. In fact, most of our fire stations only have one shower. So when you have 8 people stay in an overnight duty crew, sometimes that's not adequate. So some of the projects that we're looking to do, as I mentioned, some of our facilities are old. Our HVAC systems need replacing. One roof of one of our fire stations on Hertford Grenlock Road is over 20 years old. It needs replacement. Our parking lots with the concrete and the asphalt over the years have declined. So there's going to be some milling and some resurfacing that will need to be done. And one of the other hazards we're confronted with in the fire service with the byproducts of fire at these structure fires and vehicle fires is the cancer-causing substances that adhere to our turnout gear. And these products actually off-gas and can be a hazard to our firefighters. So firehouses in today's fire service are being designed to have ventilation systems, ensuring that the diesel exhaust systems also ventilate outside rather than having our firefighters be exposed. We have a lot of groups from the community that use our facilities. We have a Fire Explorer program where we have kids in our fire stations, and they shouldn't be exposed to these hazards. So we did receive a grant from the federal government last year for $117,000 for station exhaust systems. Unfortunately, it's a drop in the bucket. There is a match to go with that. We've done a lot of research and grants, and unfortunately, there's not a lot out there for a station building. So, as we talked about last year, this time, unfortunately, our referendum last year failed by 40 votes. And the main project on that, besides the upgrades of some of the firehouses, was to replace the station on Johnson Road. That building currently cannot house some of our resources that we have in Washington Township. For example, we have 2 ladder trucks. Today's industry standards of fire trucks are built better than they were 20, 50 years ago. They don't fit in the firehouse on Johnson Road. The two pieces of apparatus that fit there now, if you ever drove by it, one's truck's parked in the center bay, which is the only bay deep enough to house that truck. In fact, the doors don't even open all the way to allow firefighters to get inside. And everybody's more than welcome to stop at the firehouse and check out the conditions. So we need to desperately fix that fire station to make it more conducive for our operations. As we saw some recent data, we've had a lot of structure fires over on that side of the pike, particularly in the Whitman Square section in 2019. Those type of situations can change our resource strategic deployments. So if at the end of 2020 we see a high number of structure fires that require a certain piece of apparatus, we may have to relocate to that side of the community to ensure adequate fire protection. As I said, now that station is not conducive to be able to fit that apparatus. So there's many reasons. There's a lot of issues about staffing and questions on the operations. And myself and Captain Finn will be here till the very end of the meeting. If anybody has questions pertaining to staffing or operations and why we need the facility, we'll be able to answer those questions. But more importantly, get down to the meat and potatoes, and I'll introduce our Fire Commissioner, Ed Etchman, to talk about the financial impact to the taxpayers and what they need to know about the referendum. So without further ado, I'll introduce Ed Etchman and Craig from our bond council.
Yes, my name's Ed Etchman. I'm treasurer of the Board of Fire Commissioners for Washington Township. And this year's referendum is going to be, the total cost slightly less than last year's. It's going to go out at $9.97 million. And in addition to the demolishment and reconstruction of the Whitman Square Fire Station over on Johnson Road, we're going to do substantial renovations to the Herfield-Grenlock Road Station and to the main firehouse, or the Herfield Main Station, 213 East Holly Avenue. That they will include renovations to restrooms, sleeping areas, HVAC systems, and gear rooms, as the chief mentioned, for circulating air to clean, to keep fumes from when the turnout gear. One point of interest, did some calculations, and in 1993, the firehouse on Herfield-Grenlock Road was built and was booked at $3.7 million. If we just use the CPI from 1993 to 2019, that firehouse today, and it's about the same square footage as what we're looking at Whitman Square, and the $3.7 million was site work and building only at $3.7 million. That firehouse today would cost $6.54 million. The firehouse on Johnson Road we're proposing for that same amount, the site work and the building of the station, is $5.64 million. So we're running less than the amount of inflation over the 25 years or so. I'll ask Jennifer Edwards to give some tax impact statements.
Good evening, Jennifer Edwards of Vacation Financial Group. The tax impact of the $9.9 million, if the referendum is successful, is roughly $16 for every 100,000 home assessment. That's approximately 1.6 cents on the tax rate for Washington Township residents.
Yes, one other thing that everyone should know is that we will be retiring substantial debt in 2020 and 2021. For instance, the 19, the 2000 bond that is now in service will be retired in 2021, along with some apparatus leases for fire trucks that we have now. One will be retired this year and two in 2021. And if the referendum passes, the tax impact won't be felt until 2021. So it would be 1 year where it would have the full impact, less than debt service. We also have Craig Gardano here from Parker McKay, who's our bond counsel. If anyone has any
Any
questions.
questions about the process? I know it's a little different than the normal municipal bond issuances, so I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about what happens if and when the referendum passes.
All right, the referendum will be voted on, what, February 15th?
February 15th. This year, unlike other years, the Board of Fire Commissioners decided to do 3 polling locations. So it would be located at the Hereford-Grenlock Road Fire Station, the Whitman Square Fire Station on Johnson, and the East Holly Avenue Fire Station. They've already gone up on the social media outlets, the township hours, as far as where to vote for the February 15th referendum.
Okay, thanks. And you guys will be available after the meeting?
Yes, we're going to stick around for any questions.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Nice job.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, next up, we have our economic development update from Nancy Mizaki. Got it right?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Good evening, Happy New Year, and thank you, Mr. Ferry. Last month, I spoke about many of the economic development programs we engaged in last year. Tonight, I will turn to tangible results of the seeds we planted in late 2018 and throughout 2019. First, with our strong desire to create a clear, achievable process for businesses when endeavoring to open a business, we saw almost 40 businesses open in 2019, with many others either in the permitting process or under construction. Given the extraordinary success of Amazon online purchasing, this Washington Township new business number is very significant. Second, we recently spoke to a company currently in the final stretch of redevelopment of a building on the Black Horse Pike. The developer was so pleased with the zealous efforts of the administration, economic development, construction, zoning, and planning in guiding the developer through the process, they inquired about new projects. I believe the quote was, "We had such a positive experience during each step, we cannot wait to work on another redevelopment in town." We received a similar response from a Gulf bus company who moved their headquarters to Washington Township last year. The tide is turning. Despite a rocky retail real estate environment, owners, brokers, and developers are watching our efforts to encourage businesses. They realize Washington Township is not here to be an impediment to business growth. They are heavily invested in restoring vitality to once vacant buildings. Third, in the next week, the Mayor, Council President Perry, and I will informally meet with a landowner to discuss plans for a parcel on the Black Horse Pike, as well as the owner of the now vacant Sunbank. We held countless meetings like this in 2019, and we will continue this unique process in 2020 under the following approach. Informal meetings, but informative, designed to provide guidance without cost to the business owner or developers. These proactive meetings have proven to be very effective and set Washington Township apart from several other towns. Once a business owner does make an application to planning, zoning, or construction, they go into it well-informed. No unnecessary delays or dollars spent. Even our economic development colleagues at the county are taking notice. And while we remain laser-focused on addressing vacancy along the Black Horse Pike, we equally apply focus to other parts of town, including the second medical building under construction on Fish Pond Road. Of course, the last beam ceremony, which will be held in late February for the hospital's new patient wing, further solidifying our medical hub. The shopping center facade upgrade on Green Tree Road. The soon-to-be-completed Brazieri building on Gantown. A new women's medical facility on Herfield-Crosskeys Road. A new state-of-the-art Wawa at 5 Points on Delsey Drive. 2 new Collingswood restaurant operators, One, Bistro Di Marino, opened last week, and another well-regarded Collingswood restaurant due to open in the second quarter of this year. Notably, due to these two fantastic Collingswood restaurant commitments, we are directing our efforts on talking to more Collingswood restaurants to expand the range of restaurant choices for residents and workers in town. Lastly, our informative events designed to educate and inspire will continue in 2020. Look for a February 7th workshop on direct install with business owners. I would also encourage maybe a representative from the fire department to attend. It's a significant program that the state actually sponsors. And we actually we recommended it to the library, who saw a significant offset in savings for HVAC replacement. A broker roadshow touring vacancies, a chamber lunch and learn, a small business forum, and a first ever Gloucester County meeting for NAWBO, the National Association for Women Business Owners. With that, I turn it back over to Council President Perry.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice job. Okay, moving along to the bill list. Can I get approval of the bill list for January 22nd, 2020?
Make that motion.
I'll second. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call?
Ms. Dougherty?
Yes.
Ms. Pasqualone?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes. Moving on to minutes. Approval of regular minutes for January 2nd, 2020. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Dougherty?
Yes.
Ms. Pasqualone?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes. Moving on to ordinances. Ordinance 1, 2020. Ordinance fixing the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Washington. This ordinance is for introduction only. A public hearing and adoption will be held on the February 12th meeting. Can I get a motion to introduce?
Make that motion. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Dougherty?
Yes.
Ms. Pasqualone?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes. Okay, resolutions. The following resolutions are by consent agenda and only require a vote for all listed. Each one must be read by title. If any member of the council wishes to have one removed and heard separately, they need to indicate it prior to me starting the reading. Anybody have anything you want? Okay, here I go. Resolution 26, resolution appointing an economic development consultant. Resolution 27, resolution canceling taxes for Erin J. Connor, a totally disabled veteran, at 12 in Terry's Court, effective November 1st, 2019. Resolution 28, resolution canceling taxes for Salvatore J. Mazzari, a totally disabled veteran, at 801 Canal Street, effective December 5th. Resolution 29, resolution authorizing a contract with Minidec Incorporated for software for the year 2020. Resolution 30, resolution authorizing the continuing operation of the Green Team Advisory Committee. Resolution 31, resolution appointing Joseph McCucci as full-time zoning officer for the Township of Washington. Resolution 32, resolution appointing Ron Snyder, fire subcode official for the Township of Washington. Resolution 33, resolution appointing Brian Glaze, electrical subcode official for the Township of Washington. Resolution 34, resolution authorizing the Township of Washington through the Washington Township Police Department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 10033 program to enable the Washington Township Police Department to request and acquire excess equipment of defense equipment. Resolution 35, resolution awarding a contract for the Township of Washington reconstruction of Hyannis Avenue Creek to Arthur R. Henry Incorporated, 3031 Ocean Avenue, Egg Harbor Township. Resolution 36, resolution awarding a contract for the Township of Washington, Sheffield Storm Sewer Reconstruction to R. Mozalewski Excavating Incorporated, 105 Merrimack Road, Robbinsville, New Jersey. Resolution 37, resolution awarding a contract for the Township of Washington bond storm piping improvements on Johnson Road. Resolution 38, resolution awarding a contract for the Township of Washington various road striping improvements to Zone Striping Incorporated, Glassboro, New Jersey. Resolution 39, resolution authorizing refund of tax overpayments. Resolution 40, resolution appointing members to the Washington Township Senior Citizen Advisory Board. Resolution 41, resolution of the Council of the Township of Washington authorizing and approving a third amendment to the November 2008 Development Agreement for the Town Center Project, Washington Square Redevelopment Area, Washington Township, New Jersey. Resolution 42, resolution appointing Robert Workowski to the Washington Township Office of Emergency Management. Can I get a motion to approve resolutions 26 to 42?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Williams, or Mrs. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Pasqualone? Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes. Hey, moving on to old business. Anybody have any old business? Dan?
Yep.
Right? No? How about new business? No new business? No monkey business?
Yeah.
No new business? Reports.
None at this time.
None of it's done.
Just an announcement. Mark your calendars. The Washington Township High School Counseling Department presents the annual College and Career Fair, Tuesday, March 10th at the high school, 910 side of the high school from 6 to 8 p.m. Free admission to over 100 colleges, universities, technical trade schools, and military branches. I'm just going to flash that up on the calendar. Thank you. Buy hoagies for the hoagie sale. I did not bring the details, but if you look on any of Washington Township social media, the WTPS.org website, I believe the Washington Township School District Facebook, Twitter account, your kids' book bags, digital book bag, you will find the hoagie sale form where you can purchase hoagies. It goes towards so many families in town. It's something we've been doing for several years, raises a ton of money. If anyone is looking to volunteer, they take plenty of volunteers that morning to, even the night before, to distribute the meat for the hoagies, put the orders together, package. It's quite a production. It's so rewarding. I brought my children and we went as a family last year, and it was really a meaningful event. And that if you have any time to stop in the high school, as soon as you walk into the main entrance, you'll see these beautiful portraits of the families that we've helped over the years through this township-wide event that has really gotten a lot of attention from neighboring communities. So
That'll
definitely
be
participate.
Sunday, February
It's,
2nd.
right, on the Super Bowl.
Right.
Mhm.
It's, you get up early to help, but it's well worth it.
It helps to order the hoagies in advance for planning purposes.
Okay, my report, I have one here just to just to mention what Chief Douglas had, fire elections on February 15th. Voting is from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., and there are 3 locations this year. Dog renewal licensing has begun. All dogs must be licensed. Visit the clerk's office for details. On Saturday, March 7th, there will be the free rabies clinic held from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Public Works Garage located at 2 McCord Drive. So if you got your dogs due for a rabies shot, bring them down and it's free. Unfortunately, 6 months after I got mine done. Could have saved a couple bucks. Okay, since the mayor is not here, I have her report. Small group budget meetings. I'm pleased to announce that the Washington Township Finance Department will be hosting small group budget meetings for the 2020 Washington Township municipal budget. All residents are invited to meet with the Washington Township Council President Joe Perry, Business Administrator Jason Gonter, CFO Paulette Backage, and Assistant CFO James Walker about ideas or questions for the 2020 municipal budget. We welcome all residents, ideas, and feedback. In addition to these meetings, we will be having 2 open public meetings with all department heads in attendance, and residents are encouraged to attend. Time and dates will be announced. There has been no municipal tax increase in 2017 and 2018, and a slight decrease in 2019, while increasing and enhancing municipal services for residents. And there are some dates, I'm not going to read them all, they will be posted on the website. Okay, infrastructure and roads. In 2020, I'm excited to continue our roadway program with the anticipation of addressing approximately 5% of the roadways with repaving. In addition, we have received NJ DOT sponsored grants that will allow us to pave the most needed sections of Herfield and Bells Lake roadways. We have also received CDBG grant funding that will help fund the roadway improvements to Congress and Cape Cod drives. In addition, we received Green Acres grant and low interest loan funding to help support the improvements at Cedar Lake. As soon as our final NJDEP permit is received, we will break ground this spring to see the beautiful township amenity brought back to active use. We're also completing our second phase of accessibility improvements, adding ADA curb ramps within non-accessible neighborhoods. We're taking care of core infrastructure failures associated with stormwater, such as the storm piping repair behind Sheffield, the storm inlet and the asphalt repairs on Johnson Road, and the erosion control behind the homes on Hyannis. We're looking at Grenlock Park and what can be done to revitalize the park and improve the use of Grenlock Lake, another one of our township treasures. 2020 is an exciting year with just what we know we will accomplish, and the year has more in store. So, a lot of things happening, a lot of things happened, and a lot of things happening this year. Okay. Public participation. Please follow the decorum posted, which has been attached to the public agenda, and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Once you have completed your comments or questions, please take a seat. I will then ask the members of the governing body or the designee if they wish to address your questions or comments. Can I get a motion to open to the public?
I make that motion. A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak?
Kathleen Cavston, I live at 13 Grenland Drive in Grenlock. Mr. Perry and members of the council, the residents who are against the expansion of the Atlantic City Electric substation on Herfield Grenlock Road would like to thank you for your support that you have shown in favor of moving this expansion to another location. We appreciate your efforts. Atlantic City Electric has not considered your suggestions and is returning to the Senior Center on January 29th at 5 to 7 p.m., between 5 and 7 p.m., to roll out the same plan with what they consider to be upgrades to the fencing, the lighting, and the landscape. These changes are minimal compared to the scope and size of this $46 million project. Also, Also, they are claiming to now be enclosing equipment in small buildings. The small buildings were on the original plans. I believe this meeting is merely a formality so they can claim to have been cooperative with the residents affected by the project. We invite you to attend Atlantic City Electric's open house at its purposely inconvenient time between 5 and 7 p.m. on January 29th at the Senior Center on Green Tree Road. Please ask your own questions and also listen to the answers given to the questions that we ask. Please consider attending this open house as this issue is far from resolved, and we feel that it is important for you to attend so that you will be informed and better able to represent your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing nobody running to the podium. That'd bring some levity to it, you know? Meeting is kind of dry. Can I get a motion to close to the public?
I'll make that motion.
I got you a little smile, I did. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our next council meeting is scheduled for February 12th. Everybody have a good weekend. And, how many are rooting for Andy Reid's team?
Not I said 5.
Thank you all for attending.